他究竟是强撑，还是从一开始就是一个局？
秦博士，你得跟着我。
Qinmu's Huoxang, Mars' celestial venerable form, is about to debut. Qinmu's team follows the national preceptor of the Diankang nation southward to suppress the Nanjiang southern frontier rebellion. Recap of the previous episode. In the last episode, the mute man waved goodbye to Qinmu, bringing that chapter to a temporary close. But immediately afterward, the national preceptor turned back and interrogated Qinmu, who summoned that demon god. Qinmu's heart tightened. He put on an innocent expression, pretending that he had just arrived and happened to encounter the chaos. But the national preceptor was not so easily deceived. Instead, he launched a psychological gambit. He first said, "The one who summoned the demon god rendered great merit. I can recommend him for promotion to a 4th-rank official." Upon hearing this, Hu Linga immediately blurted out, "It was our young master who did it." The national preceptor instantly shifted his tone. The city's civilians suffered countless casualties. Once the war is settled, this person may well be held accountable afterward. Dismissal and exile would be the lightest punishment. Hu Linga immediately fell silent. Cold sweat broke out on Qinmu's back. The national preceptor was clearly telling him, "You won't get the credit, but I can suppress the crime for you." After an intense round of verbal tug-of-war, the national preceptor took Qinmu with him to Nanjiang. Qinmu originally wanted to refuse, but the national preceptor raised his hand and used fire cloud transmission, summoning Shenwan Yunsi Yunxiang and the other scholars at once. With the team fully assembled, there was no longer any chance to escape. Act 3, Obstruction on the Southern Journey. The national preceptor led Qinmu and the others, not along the main roads, but through desolate mountain paths. They arrived at a deep pool beneath a waterfall. By the pool sat an old man in a straw raincoat, fishing calmly. Beside him was a troublesome youth named Wang Moran. In such remote wilderness, it was obvious they were here to block the way. Words failed, so they fought. The two instructed everyone else to detour over the mountain. When Qinmu and the others reached the summit and looked back, the waterfall below was shrouded in mist. The battle could not be seen at all. Before long, the national preceptor of the Diankang nation returned alone. He said to the old man's disciple, "Go collect your master's body." Wang Moran burst into tears and ran downhill. Qinmu and the others were shaken to the core. A peerless expert had fallen. The national preceptor calmly explained. The old man came from the mysterious force known as Little Jade Capital. He was sent to test the waters, to probe the depth of my injuries. Unfortunately, he had been in seclusion for too long. His cultivation methods had fallen behind the times. This battle also signified that the assassination campaign targeting the national preceptor had officially begun. Act 4. The True Power of the Five Wonders Realm. On the road, Qinmu seized the opportunity to consult the national preceptor about cultivation. He asked, "The Five Wonders Realm feels somewhat underwhelming. How does one unleash its true power?" The national preceptor shook his head. "You students of the Imperial College have far too weak a foundation." With a casual demonstration, he displayed a metal shield, rampantly growing vegetation, waves lifting the body, walking upon fire clouds, and earth and stone forming spheres, the 5 elements under perfect control. He pointed out the key principle. The 5 wonders correspond to the 5 elemental star lords. After absorbing stellar power, true essence gains 5 elemental attributes. Many believe the Eastern Emperor Azure Dragon is purely wood-aligned, but the true Azure Dragon commands wind, thunder, water, and fire, far more than a single attribute. He then used a triangular analogy. If the foundation of the 5 wonders is unstable, it's like a triangle with an overly sharp apex. The further you cultivate, the greater the gap between you and others. By the time one reaches the Divine Bridge realm, the difference in strength may be nearly double. These words struck Qinmu like a revelation. He immediately integrated the 5 wonders from the shepherd's divine canon, cultivating on the spot. And suddenly a strange phenomenon erupted. Crimson light from the heavens poured into Qinmu's body. His form transformed dramatically. Horns sprouted from his head, and a tail emerged behind him. He had become the true Mars celestial venerable bull demon form. The national preceptor praised him. "You can now contend head-on with divine ability cultivators of the 6 harmonies realm." Act 5, The Apothecary's Shadow War. The Nanjiang rebel forces secretly plotted a kill operation that broke all martial conventions. Every time Qinmu entered a city, he prepared medicine to treat the national preceptor's injuries. But he was meticulous. deliberately purchasing herbs from more than a dozen apothecaries, and mixing in useless ingredients to prevent others from deducing the injury from the formula. What he didn't expect was that the rebels dispatched a master of the apothecary Dao Quan Zhenren, to personally investigate. Through residue analysis, Dao Quan reverse-engineered the prescription and accurately assessed the national preceptor's condition. If Qin Mu were given 1 month, the injuries could be completely healed. Within Luoguang Temple of Dali City in Nanjiang, the rebel leaders gathered. Dao Quan's conclusion confirmed their suspicions. The national preceptor was still severely injured. This was a perfect opportunity for annihilation. Qiudie Palace Master of the Licking Palace forcefully overruled all objections. Do not follow Jianghu rules and fight him one-on-one. The moment he arrives, surround and kill him. The lesson from the past, when an entire combat sect was crippled by the national preceptor alone, was far too painful. They would rather break all rules than allow this deadly threat to remain alive. Thus, a massive encirclement assassination plot against the national preceptor of the Diankang nation was quietly set in motion.